Hello and welcome to this overnight taste challenge, 5:35 a.m. Central Time, United States of America, planet Earth. Okay. It's about 51 degrees outside, maybe 50. We have some very cold weather coming in tomorrow. Very cold for Louisiana. Maybe 24 degrees. Now, people are making it like it's a big emergency around here. This is the biggest news, which is strange to me because every year, pretty much every year, it gets down to 24 or 25 degrees for a couple of nights, 2, 3, 4 nights. Sometimes it doesn't even freeze. But anyway, we're hoping for the best. Now, nothing like what they're dealing with up there in Wisconsin, New Hampshire, those types of places. Today, this morning, tonight, December 31st, 2017, although you might be watching this on April 7th, 2026. I don't think I'm going to keep these taste challenges posted forever. I think I'm going to delete all those examinations, though. I don't think too many people watch them. They watch them live and they're kind of nice, and then we talk about it, blah, blah, commiserate. But to say that people go back a year, 2, 3, 4 years later and watch it, I just don't think people do that. Sometimes I'll get a comment from a album review I've done. It trickles in. But anyway, we have Seagram's VO. What does VO stand for? No one knows. It's a mystery. People have guessed that it's very old, although my suspicion is not really aged very long, or it means very own, their very own blend. It's a mystery, and it was probably intended to be a mystery to pique people's interests. It's imported from Canada, was introduced in 1911, so it's 107 years old. Imported by the VO Distilling Company of Norwalk, Connecticut, meaning Diageo, because Diageo owns this Seagram's VO, which they bought from Seagram's when they had their year 2000 fire sale, and they dispersed all their assets to pay off their debts and get out of business completely. There is no more Seagram's company. It was one of the biggest distillery companies in the world, and now for the last 17 years it is out of existence. Anyway, versus Heaven Hill, Kentucky blended whiskey. So we have a Canadian blended whiskey of a certain ratio, of which I do not know, versus Heaven Hill 80-20 blend from Bardstown, Kentucky. It is from Kentucky. It's aged 3 years. It is using sour mash whiskey, which gives it a telltale flavor, I believe. Will I be able to tell these apart? I think so. Well, and it's not going to be because they have profound flavor and aroma characteristics. They're sort of simple, which is why some people like blended whiskeys, because they're simple, they're plain, they're mellow. And this is why other people hate them, because they're, in their mind, dull, drab, and characterless. So it depends how you look at it. To me, it's just it's something to try. It's not a religion. That's why I get into conflicts with people sometimes in the comments, right, on the Hangouts, on my videos, because I'm just drinking beers as a hobby, tasting them. I make comparisons between different things just because, you know, that's the way I think. My mind works that way. But then some people get angry because to them it's almost like it's a religion. But it's not a religion for me. Mitchell Fisher. Okay. Mitchell Fisher. Hello, Ron. I've been watching your videos ever since I turned 21. Drinking 1792 bourbon. Keep up the good work. Ah, yes. Barton 1792. I tried that at the distillery, and it's really mighty fine. So let's get going because I got to stop this in 20 minutes due to the news. Brown bottle. My daughter was saying, why is this in the brown bottle and the Seagram 7 Crown is in the brown bottle, but the VO Gold is in the clear bottle? I said, this I do not know. But I suspect it's because this is probably a little darker. The VO Gold is probably a little darker and it looks nicer in a clear bottle, whereas these are a little pale. You know, the VO and the 7 Crown are a little bit pale, and they maybe want the brown bottle to kind of cover that up or something. I don't know. Let's look at them. It is very pale. That could be the reason. And plus, maybe light might damage it. I've read something about whiskey should not be out in the light. They're both clear, but this is so pale gold, pale, 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 and this one is a little more amber. Okay, so the Heaven Hill, Kentucky is darker. No, it does not have added coloring or flavors, because if it is made in the United States and it has added coloring or flavors, the whiskey must disclose that. There is no disclosure on the label, so we know that the color is coming from the charred oak barrels, and certainly this probably used oak barrels. Now, Canadian whiskey, in fact, can be colored with caramel color and have flavors and aromas added, and they don't have to disclose it. Now, in the US, it's not allowed. Canadian and Scotch and Irish whiskey can't have it. If you read the Tax and Trade Bureau website, it's very interesting. They say it can't have that. But then there's a qualification. But the Irish, the Scotch, and the Canadian whiskeys exist under the laws of Canada, Ireland, and Scotland, you see. So even though under American law, the coloring and flavor is illegal, under those three countries' laws, it is not illegal. So in other words, they're imported under the purview of their regulations, not ours. So it's a conflict in the regulations, so they defer to the Canadian, Irish, and Scottish law. Interesting, huh? Okay, but Kentucky ain't being imported, is it? Kentucky whiskey is from America, so it's got to follow America's laws. All right. I got to be careful not to look because it's so different in appearance, the VO being so much paler. Now, my initial impression of VO was not super positive. Didn't taste bad. This was back 6 months ago when I got a sample from the Knights of Columbus Hall. It just tasted like nothing. Then we did an examination of it, and I started to think about it and say, yeah, you know, it does have a few little qualities and characteristics that I can appreciate. It's not just as drab as I had first said, but it is not bursting with flavor and aroma. Now, they tell you right on their website, right on the website, which I have linked below, it tells you very clearly this is produced for blending, mixing purposes, to make highballs, okay? It's really not made for this, what I'm doing here. Maxwell, hello, Ron, glad to see you. Happy New Year. Well, I think we should be saying happy end of the year, right? The new year doesn't start yet. Even over to you in Russia, I don't think it's the new year yet, is it? Well, it might be. No, I don't believe. But we're getting close. I hope 2018 is good. I hope I'll do better as a person in 2018. I think that's always our goal. In the new year, make resolutions, maybe lose weight, stop smoking cigarettes, oh, give up bad habits, be nice to the people. No, doesn't usually work out. But we try, I want to personally, I want to make a strong effort this year, 2018. Cast off bad habits. Be a better person. We'll see what happens. Time will tell, won't it? Okay. Got them well mixed. Here we go with the overnight taste challenge. Oh, and so some upcoming videos. I just posted the Brooklyn Winter Ale, and that was the first video review for that beer in the world. Then my daughter and I did a video that was the first in the world. And then we did a Christmas beer. No, let's see, we did, oh yeah, a winter beer from Iceland. That was the first video review for that beer in the world. And we did Seagram's VO Gold. So that's coming up, a video review for Seagram's VO Gold. And we did, and then my friend David came over and we did a craft beer from Alabama, which he wasn't too, oh, we did Boddington's Pub Ale. He didn't like it because it had nitro, the nitro foam. And he said, even though it might taste good, I don't like it because the nitro foam just overrides everything. So he gave it a, well, you'll see, but he didn't like it. He said, you slipped that in on me, huh? Because you know I hate nitro. Then we did a Alabama craft beer, which he thought was all right, marginally good. Then we did a macro beer, which he loved. Then we did a whiskey, which he thought was good, even though it was cheap. Hello, Bill McIntosh. Good morning. Happy end of the year. He said, Happy New Year. Well, happy end of the year. New Year is not here yet, but we're anticipating it. Hope you join us for Seagram's VO Gold. Go out and buy some if you want to throw down 24, 25 bucks, 23, 24, 25 bucks, but it's up to you. But we'd love to have you. Wednesday night, 7:30 Eastern Time. This is a very light in the nose, very light, very light. Slight, I'm trying to find it. Oh yeah, that could be a problem, especially since it's been discontinued. You could call your distributor, maybe ask ABC Liquor who the distributor is. They'd probably be able to track it down. It might be right under your nose, like this is, under my nose. There's a slight mint. And like David said when we did that cheap whiskey, which he had to admit he liked, he said it smelled like alcohol, you know, just like straight antiseptic. That one does. With a little mint, little dried flower, but not. Okay. This smells like corn. This smells like Kentucky. This smells like sourdough bagel. So this has got to be Heaven Hill, and that has got to be Seagram's VO. I'm going to feel so played if I get this wrong. Hey, Ron, do you ever review vodkas? Mitchell Fisher says. No, honestly, I don't. I'm not opposed to it, but I don't want to get too caught up in different things. I haven't even finished drinking those 3 brandy bottles I've got. I want to get through those brandies, but I keep getting delayed. I'm just barely, at this rate of sipping them down, it's going to be a year before I get rid of those. And then I got to go through all these whiskeys. So if I could just finish the brandy, I would feel so much better about the whiskey. And then I could rotate through and just go through that, and it would speed the whole thing up. Because that brandy that I've got is holding everything up. But of course, they're very good. The Parmesan VSOP and the Christian Brothers VSOP and the Christian Brothers Sacred Bond. I mean, it's not like when you sip it, it's bad. It's delightful, but it's just holding up my process here. It's like I'm riding with the emergency brake still on, so it's kind of irritating. Okay, so going by aroma, that's got to be VO, and that's got to be Heaven Hill. I think the Heaven Hill has more character, honestly. A little more bread, a little more corn, a little more sourdough biscuit. This one's just like minty, slightly floral alcohol. Rubbing alcohol, sort of like. Okay, well, let's go with the taste. Forgot my water in the kitchen. Well, that's okay. Now, okay, in the flavor. In the flavor, though, we are getting a little bit of wood, a little bit of, is that wintergreen type mint? Tastes like Canada. You know what I mean? Like, I've been to Canada many times. It tastes like my memories of Canada. It does. I'm not joking. I don't know why. It just reminds me of a lot of different interesting experiences I had in Canada, I got to tell you. Okay. This Heaven Hill is much more woody and corny. Corn. Now, I know the Canadian whiskey is using corn, but they use a lot of rye, right? Well, a lot of barley, I mean to say. They use some rye. I meant to say barley. They used to use rye, and then like they started calling Canadian whiskey rye. They just called it rye, but really isn't really that rye oriented. You want a rye oriented whiskey, get anything from Sazerac. They tend to have that sharp rye note. Although we didn't really talk about that with that whiskey we had yesterday that was from Baltimore, Maryland, Baltimore County, Maryland, outside the city limit, just outside the city limits. But I don't know, maybe the Sazerac stuff from Baltimore is a little different item. I don't know. I'd have to go really deeper into it. We just did a tasting and we liked it, but sometimes when you go deeper, it starts to bring out more characteristics that you didn't think about in the initial review. He says, "Oh, well, I appreciate your reviews. Hope you have a wonderful year. Have fun with those brandies." Thanks, and I'm trying to have fun with them. I'm just trying to finish them. You ever get impatient with something like that? Like you want to finish something and you just don't do it, and it just keeps getting delayed. It's so frustrating. That's the main thing about it. It's frustrating. I keep looking on this cap. I look on the counter. I see those 3 bottles, and it's just seems like it's a glacial reduction of the volume. Finally, I got through the Saint Remy. Now I'm trying to finish off the Parmesan VSOP. This has been, what, a year since I've had this bottle? I mean, come on. Oh, well. If that's the biggest problem we have in life, that is not really a big problem, is it? But it's still frustrating. You see now, there is a little corn that's coming into play here. Like cornflakes, right? Cornflakes. Maybe not Kellogg's cornflakes, maybe Post. I think Post cornflakes taste a little different than Kellogg. I don't know why. I don't know why that is, but it does seem to be the case. I gotta say, has a little character to it, a little bit, not a lot, little, nice, pleasant, very mild, mellow. Be perfect for a mixed drink, I'm sure, because that's all you want is the 80. But if you're only buying VO to get the 80 proof, the booze out of it, why would you even pay for that? I mean, it's like, why not just get Kentucky Dale, which is $6.99 a bottle, right? Why pay $18.99 for a bottle and you're getting the same thing as Kentucky Dale? Essentially, you know, kind of a flavorless type item. But people want something to look decent on their liquor, you know, little liquor cart. And I guess Seagram's VO looks better than Kentucky Dale. I guess that's the. Some people will take them and they'll pour them in like a decanter without the bottle. So then you don't know what it is. And then you can't judge it. You just drink it. That's probably a good idea. You say, I got vodka here, scotch here, Canadian here, rum here, and then they don't have to worry about what brand it is. They might raise an eyebrow, but they'll drink it. Okay. Last sip, and then we're going to call it. Huh? Are these different from each other? Yes, they are. Within the context of the dull sort of paradigm. Which one's better? It's hard to say. I guess. Yes, 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 yes. Uh-huh. Oh, boy. I think the one here is better, which I believe is Heaven Hill. It's got a little less of that antiseptic alcohol and a little more of the corn and sourdough bagel thing going for it. Is it way better? No, but it does win. So, I mean, a winner is a winner, right? I think that's the first loss for VO. First time it's lost. So it's not out the tournament, but I got to keep a mental note that it did lose. I'm not writing these things down ever, so I'm trying to remember. Well, let's check and see. I'm going to feel funny if it's the other thing, but I think this is VO over here. So let's check. Got 4 minutes left. Yes. Hey, I'm learning. This is a clinic. You get to watch my public online clinic. The Whiskey Tasting Challenge Clinic. Whoa, that's what it is, really. You get used to these flavors. And of course, this is the HH, Hugh Hefner. The Heaven Hill. Well, of course, I got a lot more respect for Heaven Hill than Hugh Hefner. Well, that's another story for another day. So, Heaven Hill wins. Can a $7.99 bottle of whiskey beat an $18.99 bottle of whiskey? Well, sometimes you can get it on sale for $16.99 to be able. Well, yes, it just did. It just did beat it. How about that? Okay. To close this out, Heaven Hill beats Seagram's VO, and what is next? Oh, next week I'll try to. It's going to be that real big freeze here. You know, big like 26 degrees, but you know, it's still something. We're not prepared down here for that. We like heat, but I will try to do one Tuesday. We'll see what happens. Be the first challenge of the year, but guess we'll do Heaven Hill versus. How about Heaven Hill versus the Albertsons Canadian blended whiskey? You say Albertsons? Yeah, well, you know what? It's just made for Albertsons by you know who, Sazerac. Meaning the people that own Buffalo Trace, and they have facilities up in Canada that does all their Canadian whiskey. So what distillery does Sazerac own in Canada? They don't say, they won't say, or like keep it a mystery. Could be that they're sharing a distillery with another big company. Maybe they would prefer that doesn't come out. Maybe the big company doesn't want that to come out. I have no evidence to that effect. I'm using kind of like connecting the dots in my head. But it doesn't really matter. So I think that's what we'll do next. We'll do Heaven Hill versus the Albertsons Canadian. I think that'll be a little tougher challenge because I recall that Albertsons seem to have a little bit more character than the VO. Oh, but the VO's fine. It's fine. I mean, I don't think it's worth $18, but a lot of people apparently do think so because it sells like crazy. It's one of the top selling blended whiskeys in the world, so somebody likes it. All right, that's it. 6 o'clock. or 7 o'clock Eastern Time, AM. The news is coming on. Oh, wow. The news is coming on. So everybody take care and have a great Sunday.